600 hours, high altitude, North Pacific Ocean. The sun breaches the curvature of the Earth, painting the stratosphere in hues of violet and burning orange. Two stealth fighters glide through the thin air like obsidian shards. Condensation trails vanish instantly in the freezing slipstream. The cockpit is a sanctuary of low hums and soft digital glows. Below, the ocean is a seamless sheet of dark blue steel, unbroken by ship or wave. The only sound is the rhythmic, harsh intake of breath through oxygen masks. The flight lead scans the infinite horizon through the canopy glass. His helmet display projects green vectors against the morning light. The silence is heavy, absolute, and suffocating. A sudden static hiss breaks the calm on the encrypted channel. The flight stick vibrates slightly in a gloved hand. The pilot tightens his grip. The lead stealth fighter rolls abruptly to the west. The wingman mirrors the move with mechanical precision, locking into a tight combat spread. Engines scream as throttles advance. Afterburners flare briefly, spitting diamonds of blue fire. The jets punch through a thin layer of cirrus clouds, shredding the vapor into mist. The airframes groan under the sudden shift in gravity. Sensors sweep the empty void ahead, hunting for anomalies. The pilot toggles the master arm switch. A metallic click echoes in the headset. The radar sweeps, searching for ghosts and the electronic noise. The flight lead snaps a command over the comms. Check fuel state and weapons readiness. The wingman responds instantly. Green across the board, they tighten the formation, reducing their radar cross-section to the size of a marble. The patrol continues into the blinding sun. The ocean below remains empty, but the sky feels crowded. The threat warning system remains silent, but the tension coils tighter. They wait for the inevitable contact. 0615 hours, 40,000 feet above the Pacific. The cockpit remains a coffin of glass and titanium. The sun climbs higher, casting long shadows inside the flight deck. The digital hum of the avionics suite provides a steady, rhythmic baseline. The world outside is a blur of blue and white, serene and detached. Inside the helmet, the pilot's breathing is slow and measured. The radar sweeps the empty sky in a relentless, hypnotic pendulum motion. A sharp, digital chirp shatters the calm. It is not the steady rhythm of a friendly beacon. It is erratic. The radar warning receiver pulses yellow. A ghost signature flickers on the tactical display, then vanishes. The pilot stiffens. He wipes a thumb across the display mode switch. The signal returns, faint and jagged. It drifts in the electronic noise floor, hiding behind the background static. The display suddenly scrambles. White noise floods the frequency. A jamming signal screams through the headset. The pilot kills the volume violently. Jamming detected. The wingman barks over the secure link. The sensors fight through the electronic fog. The flight lead snap rolls the aircraft to the left. The G-suit inflates instantly, squeezing his legs to force blood back into his brain. The stealth fighter banks hard, its wings slicing through the thin air. The radar fights to lock on to the Phantom. The electronic warfare suite flashes red warnings. The signature solidifies. It is no longer a ghost. Two distinct vectors appear on the screen. They close at supersonic speeds. Music on, radar active, the flight lead orders. He pushes the nose down. The aircraft dives, trading altitude for kinetic energy. The engines roar as the afterburners kick in. A sonic boom ripples across the empty water below. The digital ghosts have become real target. 0618 hours, above the cloud layer. The electronic jamming screams, rendering the digital radar screens into a chaotic mess of static snow. The flight lead punches a button, dimming the useless display. He looks up. The sun glares violently off the scratch-resistant canopy. He lowers his dark visor. The sky is a vast, blinding blue dome. He breathes in sharp, rhythmic gasps. His eyes scan the sector between the jagged cloud tops and the sun. A glint of metal flashes against the white cumulus. It is small, a razor-thin silhouette cutting the mist. Then a second shape emerges. They are not ghosts. They are heavy, twin-engine beasts with forward canard wings, hostile stealth fighters. They slice through the vapor trails, banking hard toward the interception point. Visual contact, 2 bandits, 12 o'clock low, the lead pilot shouts. The enemy jets spot the patrol. They snap their wings level instantly. Their engines flare orange. The closure rate is suicidal. 2,000 miles per hour of combined speed. The air between them compresses. The lead fighter slams the throttle to the stop. The jet lurches forward. He pulls back hard on the stick. The nose rises. The aircraft screams upward, trading speed for a tactical vantage point. The hostiles mirror the move. They climb vertically, their bellies flashing gray against the sky. The gap vanishes in seconds. The lead pilot thumbs the weapon selector switch. Master arm on. Heat seekers selected. The missile tone growls in his ear. The seeker headhunts for the burning exhaust of the enemy engines. 0620 hours. The merge. The distance closes to zero. The air between the formations compresses into a solid wall. The growl of the missile seeker hits a high-pitched scream. The flight lead does not blink. The hostile stealth fighter fills the entire canopy glass for a split second. The gray delta wing flashes past with a deafening roar that vibrates through the pilot's chest. The shockwaves collide, slamming the friendly jet sideways. "Brake right! Brake right!" The lead screams into the mask. He slams the stick into his thigh. The aircraft pivots on a dime. The thrust vectoring nozzles twist. The jet defies physics, flipping its nose around in a tight, impossible radius. Gravity hits the pilot like a falling safe. His helmet smashes back against the headrest. The G-suit bladder inflates violently, crushing his legs and abdomen to keep blood in his skull. His vision tunnels. The edges of his sight turn gray. The wingman peels off in the opposite direction, splitting the formation. The enemy fighters attempt to follow. They bank hard, their canard wings digging into the airflow. White vapor pours off their wingtips. The lead pilot mashes the countermeasure button. Magnesium flares bloom white-hot behind his engine exhaust. They act as decoys for any heat-seeking missiles. The enemy jet overshoots. It cannot match the turn rate. It slides out in front. The lead pilot grunts, fighting the crushing weight of 9 Gs. He forces the nose of his fighter toward the retreating enemy tail. The hunter has become the hunted. The turning fight begins. 0621 hours. Combat airspace. The sky is a tangled knot of white contrails and black smoke. The two formations orbit each other in a deadly descending spiral. The roar of engines drowns out the wind. The lead pilot fights to keep the enemy tail in his heads-up display. The hostile aircraft snaps inverted, exposing its gray belly. Hydraulic actuators scream. The enemy weapon bay doors cycle open. 2 white shapes drop into the slipstream. Rocket motors ignite instantly. They streak forward, riding pillars of yellow fire. "Missile launch! 9 o'clock!" the wingman screams. The lead pilot slams the throttle to idle. The engine exhaust cools instantly. He punches the countermeasure button repeatedly. Canisters shoot from the fuselage. They detonate behind the jet, creating a blossoming cloud of burning magnesium and aluminum chaff. The sky fills with false targets. The first enemy missile takes the bait. It banks sharply into the flare cloud. It detonates. A sphere of orange fire rips through the sky. Shrapnel sprays outward, pattering against the lead pilot's canopy like hail. The shockwave kicks the stealth fighter sideways. The pilot wrestles the stick, fighting the turbulence. The second missile ignores the decoys. It locks onto the wingman. The wingman rolls his aircraft 90 degrees and pulls back on the stick. The jet shoots vertical, climbing straight into the sun. The missile tracks him, pulling an impossible lead turn. The smoke trail closes the distance. 0623 hours. The vertical limit. The wingman hangs suspended in the thin air, nose pointing at the blinding sun. The missile smoke trail snakes upward, closing the gap. The proximity warning siren wails like a banshee in the cockpit. The pilot slams the throttle to idle. He kicks the rudder pedal hard to the left. The nose of the stealth fighter slices sideways. The aircraft enters a controlled, flat spin. The airspeed plummets to near zero. It falls like a stone. The missile cannot adjust. Its fins bite into thin air, struggling for grip. It screams past the cockpit canopy, missing by feet. The rocket motor leaves a black scorch mark on the glass. The warhead detonates 500 feet above. The shockwave hammers the falling jet. The pilot wrestles the stick, fighting the spin. He pushes the throttle to full military power. The engine nozzles twist downward. The jet catches the heavy air of the lower atmosphere. It snaps out of the spin with a violent jerk. Gravity crushes the pilot. 10 times his body weight slams him into the ejection seat. His vision turns into a pinhole. Gray curtains close in from the sides. He grunts, forcing air through clenched teeth. The G-suit squeezes his legs until they bruise. He levels the wings. The ocean rushes up to meet him. He pulls back, shallowing the dive just above the waves. The formation is shattered. Every aircraft is alone. 06, 25 hours. 15,000 feet. The long-range duel is over. The fight collapses into a knife fight. The two aircraft are locked in a tightening circle, nose to tail. Engines scream at maximum output. The airframe shudders under the strain of continuous high-G turning. The lead pilot strains his neck, looking back over his ejection seat. The hostile jet is large in the canopy glass. Its intake ramps adjust furiously to feed the hungry engines. The enemy pilot pulls a desperate move. He yanks the stick back hard. The hostile nose rears up vertically. The jet skids through the air, acting as a massive air brake. It is a Cobra maneuver. Speed bleeds off instantly. The lead pilot is about to overshoot and fly right in front of the enemy guns. "Braking!" the lead shouts. He slams the throttle back. He deploys the speed brakes. Hydraulic panels flare open on the fuselage. The deceleration slams him forward against the harness straps. The air howls around the dirty airframe. He manages to stay behind the stalling enemy. The overshoot is avoided. The lead pilot flips the selector switch on the stick. Gun selected. The head-up display changes. A circular targeting funnel appears. The distance counter drops rapidly. 800 yards. 600 yards. He squeezes the trigger. A vibration violently shakes the entire cockpit. The rotary cannon in the wing root spins up. A stream of orange tracer rounds slashes through the blue sky. The sound is a ripping canvas tear. The tracers zipper past the enemy's left wing, missing by inches. The hostile pilot rolls hard right, diving toward the ocean to spoil the aim. The lead pilot rolls with him, refusing to break the lock. The smell of burnt cordite filters into the oxygen mask. 0628 hours, 10,000 feet. The wingman claws his way back into the fight. The ocean is a gray blur below. He spots the lead fighter chasing the first bandit. He banks hard to join the kill. He checks his radar. It is clear. He is wrong. A shadow falls over his canopy. The second hostile fighter drops from the clouds like a hammer. It sits perfectly in the wingman's blind spot. The enemy cannons roar. Explosions ripple across the wingman's right wing. The carbon fiber skin shatters into confetti. High explosive rounds chew through the internal structure. A fuel line ruptures. Raw jet fuel sprays onto the hot engine casing. It ignites instantly. A thick, oily trail of black smoke pours from the wing root, staining the pristine sky. The aircraft jolts violently, as if struck by a giant hand. The flight stick kicks back against the pilot's glove. The cockpit lights up with red warning strobe. Engine fire. Right.
Engine fire. Right.
Hydraulic failure. System 2. The automated voice alert is calm, contrasting the chaos. The pilot slams the fire extinguisher button. A hollow thump echoes as halon gas floods the engine bay. The flames waver, but do not die. The jet rolls involuntarily to the right, dipping its nose toward the water. The pilot stands on the left rudder pedal with both feet. He fights the roll with every ounce of strength in his legs. The hydraulics whine and groan. The aircraft shudders, threatening to tear itself apart. "I'm hit, taking heavy damage," the wingman screams over the comms. "Losing altitude. Controls are sluggish." He jettisons his remaining external stores. The drop tanks tumble away, lightening the load. The jet levels out, but it is limping. The hostile fighter breaks off, satisfied, and turns to sandwich the flight lead. 0630 hours, 5,000 feet. The situation is critical. The radar warning receiver screams a solid, continuous tone. The second hostile fighter is locked onto the lead pilot's 6 o'clock position. A launch warning flashes red on the dashboard. Death is seconds away. The lead pilot ignores the threat behind him. He focuses entirely on the gray shape twisting in front of his nose. He needs the kill now. He forces the stick forward, bunting the nose down. The negative G-force lifts him out of the seat against the harness. Debris from the cockpit floor floats in the air. The targeting reticle snaps over the lead bandit's exhaust plume. The heat-seeker growl becomes a high-pitched shriek. The lock is absolute. "Fox 2!" he yells. The missile rail shudders. The AIM-9X Sidewinder leaps off the wingtip. The rocket motor ignites with a blinding flash, accelerating to Mach 2.5 instantly. The smoke trail draws a white line straight to the target. The hostile pilot pops flares, but it is too late. The range is point blank. The missile slams into the right engine nozzle. The warhead detonates inside the turbine housing. The explosion shreds the titanium fan blades like shrapnel. The entire tail section of the enemy jet shears off in a cloud of burning fuel and twisted metal. The hostile aircraft violently pitches up, then loses all lift. It enters a flat, unrecoverable spin. The fuselage tumbles toward the ocean. It impacts the water at 600 miles per hour. A massive geyser of white foam and orange fire erupts from the surface. The shockwave ripples across the water. The lead pilot does not watch the splash. He slams the throttle to full afterburner and hauls the stick back into his gut. The fighter screams into a vertical climb, trading speed for altitude, turning to face the remaining threat. 0635 hours. Disengagement zone. The smoke column from the downed aircraft rises like a black tombstone over the Pacific. The second hostile fighter witnesses the destruction of his wingman. The tactical situation shifts instantly. He is now alone against the lethal flight lead and a damaged but armed wingman. The calculus of survival takes over. The enemy pilot abandons the attack run. He slams his stick forward. The gray jet dives aggressively toward the wave tops. He levels off at 50 feet. Skimming the ocean surface to hide in the radar clutter created by the waves. His afterburners ignite, leaving a twin trail of steam on the water. He turns east, sprinting away from the engagement zone at maximum speed. "Bandit separating. He's running," the lead pilot states. He watches the radar contact fade. He does not pursue. The fuel gauge is the new enemy. The digital numbers blink yellow. The lead pilot banks gently, throttling back to conserve energy. He pulls alongside his damaged wingman. He inspects the aircraft. The right wing is scorched black. A jagged hole rips through the trailing edge. Hydraulic fluid streaks the fuselage like blood. But the engine is turning. The fire is out. "Form up. Course 270. We're going home," the lead orders. The two stealth fighters align their vectors. They climb slowly, seeking the thin air at high altitude to save fuel. The adrenaline crash hits the pilots. Hands tremble slightly on the controls. The cockpit cools as the systems settle. The ocean below is once again empty, vast, and silent. They fly west, two small specks vanishing into the clouds.